All right, so lots going on today. First seeding of the season, and I'm gonna be making up some soil. I was gonna do it yesterday, but then a bunch of other things got in the way. So making soil. Melanie's helping me seed our first peppers today, and then I've got a meeting, and then got to get out there and do some field work. So it'll be a full-on day. You might even see me running around some. Alright, we got the soil made. Gonna take this down to the propagation house and then get some flats filled. So then once Melanie's ready to go, she can start seeding. Okay, so now we're gonna start filling flats. Alright, so the soil mix that I'm making this year, I've kind of changed it from what we've done in the past. We used to do a lot heavier mix, a lot heavier compost. A little more forgiving, but also our springs have gotten a lot wetter, so I'm making it lighter so stuff doesn't get as, we don't get as much damping off, and things seem to perform better anyway. But basically our mix is, it's a 40% peat moss, 40% perlite, which sometimes I use pumice. But pumice retains water a lot more. Perlite just acts as aeration, which that's kind of nice. And then 20% compost. And then I just use Perfect Blend, which is a balanced chicken manure. It's just a 4-4-2. And then I put some gypsum in there to help balance the pH a bit, and as a source of calcium. I've used lime in the past too, but the lime definitely started raising the pH too much, so I started using gypsum. And then there's a trace mineral in there too, which is just basically glacial rock dust. So that's basically the mix, the seed starting mix that we make. Works really good. And yeah, I just kind of half mix it by hand and half mix it with the tractor bucket, and it works pretty good. So this is probably about a yard what I made here, and then I have another yard up in the pile still. So it's about a 2-yard load. I think it's cheaper or right about the same as some bought stuff, but what I like about being able to make it yourself is oh, that's not good. I got some of these trays that have broken cells. The one thing that's better about making your own mix is you can regulate the moisture better. So like the peat moss, when I buy it as just peat moss isn't dried out because it's coming from the bogs. Pretty moist already, like a nice moisture level. And then obviously the perlite moisture doesn't really stay apart because that comes dry. And then the compost, sometimes it's really wet, sometimes it's really dry. So you can kind of regulate your mix based off of that, which I like. And then I also like being able to use the Perfect Blend fertilizer because it's really dependable. And it's really available too. Oh, and the Perfect Blend also has some mycorrhiza in it and has some extra sulfur in it too. So all those things kind of help boost the whole system. Eventually I'd like to build a hopper. I've thought about it for years. A hopper that I can dump the soil in on the roof, like a port on the roof that could hold it, and then has a trough coming down to a table where I can just open it as needed to let the soil come down on a tray so I'm not hunched over all the time. As I get older, I realize how helpful it is to be standing up as much as I can during the day. But for today, this will work. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12. And then the way we dibble our trays is we just stack them on top of each other, and then the pressure of the previous tray basically just dibbles it enough for the seeds, which is great. Makes it easy. Probably gonna fog over once I go in here. It's pretty humid right now. Let's get this thing opened up. One of the projects I'm going to be working on in the coming weeks actually is to get the roll-up wall on this thing. I think I've scavenged enough parts from over the years that I can build the roll-up wall for this thing. Eventually I'll get all the other ones with roll-up walls, and then eventually I'll get them motorized, running off of solar, so then we can just come down here and push a button and the walls will go up. I thought about trying to thermostatically control them too, but talking with some greenhouse experts, they say it's hard to get it dialed in, so it's not always opening and closing, but I still might experiment with that eventually. All right, gonna start seeding peppers today. Get going on that. We have 52 flats to do. Seed a lot of the peppers today because they're pretty expensive seed, and I didn't over purchase those seeds, so that's what we've done in the past using the vacuum seeder. But some of the rest of the remaining seeds that I have extras of those, and they're not as expensive. A lot of them are ones that I kept, and so I'm going to use the vacuum seeder to do that, and it just means there's going to be more seeds are going to drop, so I'll get a lot more doubles, but that's okay. So I've got about 6 more flats to do, and then that'll be our 52 flats for the day. So yeah, I'm just going to do this and go from there. So this is a lower germination seed, so that's why it's going to be okay. It's mostly doubles in here, so that should work pretty good. All right, my foam. This is always the challenge on these seeders, is that the foam seal around the side sometimes comes off, so it makes crazy squealing noises that drive you insane, but the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, that's for sure. Okay, let's get this thing going. Alright. Okay, we'll get these labeled. Always put the date on the back, so when you're looking at stuff you can say, how long has it been in there? Alright. Alright. So I take it over to the table, water stuff in, and then after we water everything in, get it nice and soaked, then it goes over to the germ chamber, and this is where we start it all. And the only thing that I have to watch in here is rodents at nighttime, so we'll be setting lots of traps down here tonight just to make sure. I think that they've got other food to eat outside now because it's starting to be deep enough in spring, but definitely want to make sure. So, yeah. I mean, basically 4 years old.
Right.
But I double seeded them, so we'll see. I got the Provolts. I seeded some of the Provolts too, I just want to save the seeds from those.
Right.
To kind of keep Jonathan's dream alive.